Good evening and welcome. I'm Roy Blitzer, and our show is Ask Dr. Business. The purpose of our time together is to provide information and insight to help make your work life a little more exciting and challenging. The desired outcome is you're going to take this input and become a more productive and happy employee. This evening we're starting a new series, People Who Work in the Field of Hospitality, and we're very fortunate tonight to have as our guests Paul Alexander, who's the owner of Continental Caterers right here in Palo Alto. I want to remind you that should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call. The number is 650-856-1491. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
I would love it if you'd begin by telling our viewers a little bit about you and your background, how you got into the hospitality business, where you studied, what did you study, and just give us a little quick tell me about yourself answer.
Sure. Well, it wasn't a plan to get into the business I'm in. I went to school here in the area and went to Stanford University.
Are you a local guy in the Bay Area?
I am. I moved here when I was 5 years old. Grew up, did all my schooling, did go to Stanford University, got a degree in economics. All along during my college career, I did have one foot in the restaurant business, and I also did cater for the company that I eventually ended up buying.
So you were a worker there?
I was.
Great.
I worked at all levels of the business.
Did you ever do bartending work?
Of course.
Someday we'll have you back for that again. I'm fascinated by that business. Yeah. Okay, so you graduated, you're an economics major, then
yes.
What?
Degree in economics, got into the financial services industry, became a stockbroker, and after just plugging through that for a couple years, I decided my heart really wasn't in it. But what I did enjoy was my weekend work at the restaurants and catering, and finally I decided to just go with my passion and decided to take on cooking for the former owner of Continental Caterers.
So you started off as a chef?
Yes. I wouldn't call myself a chef because I didn't have the actual training, but I had a natural aptitude for cooking and a love for food and the business.
So eventually you ended up purchasing the business?
I did. I did work for the previous owner for 6 or 7 years.
So you knew the field?
Yeah, I did all aspects of the business with him, whether it was driving trucks, working at events, being a waiter, bartending, cooking. So I really got to know the business well before buying it.
So let me ask a question that we didn't prep for. Did you do any financial analysis, or did you do a business plan? Did you get a chance to test whether the business was a profitable one, had an opportunity to grow, or you just, I guess you're a stockbroker, I'm assuming you did a lot of that, or did you just realize this is something you wanted to do?
You know, my business background did come full circle when I was able to buy the business, and that's when some of the business background did come in handy.
I'm fascinated to find out a little bit about what it's been like in the 17 years that you've been in this industry. Tell me a little bit about what you think some of the differences are between catering events and being in the hospitality world when you started and what it's like now.
Sure. Well, 17 years has been a long time to be in the business. When I started, Continental Caterers was more of a local business, and as the internet grew and people started looking for services in a different way, it brought a lot of competition to our industry. And so it didn't really matter where you were located as a business. What mattered to people was what they saw on the internet, on websites. So whether you're located in Hayward or across the Bay, San Francisco, that really brought in a lot more competition over the years.
How far would you travel to get an event under your belt?
Well, we travel as far as anyone will pay us to go.
Good answer.
We have worked as far as Reno, I have to say.
Really?
We have, yeah.
Okay.
But primarily we focus in the Bay Area, from Los Gatos to Marin, East Bay, San Francisco, and all up and down the peninsula here.
So I think I'm hearing that the difference may be the competition is tougher now than it was before.
It really is quite tougher, and then just keeping on top of the food trends. There's always something new that people are looking for, and just to be aware of what's new and current is really important.
I want to remind everyone to please call in. The show is Ask Dr. Business. Our theme this next series is people who work in hospitality, and we're very fortunate to have Paul Alexander here, the owner of Continental Caterers. Please come all, ask all. The number is 650-856-1491. Talk to me about the customer base. Has it changed tremendously? Would you say the expectations of what to expect for a meal at a party is different? I'm fascinated because I think that we've become more sophisticated. My inclination says that we expect more because for some reason it seems to be very in.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Things have changed. People's tastes have become more sophisticated. They're getting out more. They're seeing different ideas at the trendy restaurants, and they really want to bring that home to their events.
Okay, now let's talk about the kind of people you have seen be successful in your business. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you look for when you want to hire someone. What qualities are you looking for in a future employee? And I predict, can you tell if they're going to be successful or not?
I have a pretty good idea upon meeting someone. They do need to be articulate, personable. They really have to be well organized.
Okay, so they have to be organized.
Absolutely. Attention to detail is crucial. There's so many moving parts to planning events that just being able to handle it all, keep your pins in a row, is really important.
What about previous experience? Would you hire an intern, for example? A lot of the young people that watch our show may be interested in becoming interns. Would you hire interns? Is that a track record thing that you'd need, or would they need to get experience somewhere else?
No, I'm absolutely happy to hire interns, people who have experience in the business, but what's also nice is people who actually don't have experience in the business.
Oh, really?
Because you can mold them and teach them, and they can sort of grow into their own, in the industry.
So far I've heard organized, attention to detail. How do you feel about their basic love of eating and food? And
a passion for food is a must, but also a dedication to long hours. Knowing that your weekends will be dedicated to work. That's really something that is a requirement in our industry.
I want to remind everyone to please call in. The number here is 650-856-1491. I should tell you candidly that every time I do that, I feel like a shopping network person, but I'm positive someone's going to call, even though it is the summertime.
Right.
Talk a little bit, if you would, about the success factor and the people who tend to make it in this business. Is there a washout period? Is there a period where they sort of figure out this isn't good for them and they leave? Or I'm fascinated by the longevity that you've had in a very tough career, and whether it's usually you're either in it for 10 years or 7 months. What do you think about that?
Well, I've known a lot of people who burn out, within years doing this. I've had some of my own former employees who have left me, started their own businesses. It's a very tight-knit community, the whole catering industry. So, we're friendly with our colleagues. And I've had people come to me, years later and just say, Paul, how do you do this? How do you make money doing this? And I know another industry colleague that's actually getting out of the business. It's been 7 years for him, and he's just tired.
Well, I think the burnout is important. And I also thought when you mentioned the long hours, just tell my audience what is a commitment. Let's say you have a Saturday, do they get married Saturday night now? I guess
sure, absolutely.
A Saturday night wedding. Give us a typical employee time that they would need for this event.
Well, for my core staff, my chefs might start in my kitchen at my shop at 5 or 6 in the morning.
Oh, are you serious? For an evening wedding?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Working all day in the kitchen till 1 or 2 when it's time to head off to the event. And then events are 8 or 9 hours, so they may be at an event from 3 p.m. to 12 midnight or later. So A lot of my folks work 16 hours on some Saturdays,
Well,
and
we
it's
are
not uncommon.
certainly adding a reality to anyone who thinks this is
We
glamorous.
are. There's some events. I mean, we do breakfasts where we need to be on site at 5 o'clock in the morning. Our drivers get to the shop, before 4:30 and head out, and we work a full day. Breakfast and lunch is, common thing.
You just brought up a question that I've not thought of in our preparation period. What kind of jobs do you have open? You just mentioned a driver. It never occurred to me that you have to have someone to get all this stuff
Right.
there. Would you be able to multitask that? Could you be a bartender and a driver, or do
Yeah,
you
absolutely. You may be the bartender for an event and be asked to come to our shop and drive one of the vehicles to the event. And then, of course, there's our kitchen staff, our chefs, and then our waiters.
and you have to have someone, I'm afraid to ask that, you have to have someone clean up.
Well, we all work as a team and we get the cleanup done as well. And it's not beyond any of us to do whatever needs to happen. I'll be the first one to just jump in there and help, take away the garbage at the end of the night if that's what needs to happen.
So this is very eye-opening. Let's say you talked about being on your feet. You could literally not only work 16 hours, but not sit down. Do you ever get breaks? Is
Well,
there
we
any
certainly-
state law that you have to give these people a...
Well, there are state laws regarding breaks,
Good.
but we take breaks when we can. Sometimes I hesitate to sit down because once I sit down, I'm not sure
You
if
can
I'm
get
going to be
up.
getting back up. Yeah.
Now, I'm sure everyone wants to ask this, but no one's called yet, so I'll ask it. Do you get to eat the food that you work on all day? Is that part of the perks? Do you provide meals for your staff?
We actually treat our staff very well. They're eating filet along with the guests. Sometimes we're pretty spoiled in that regard. I know of a lot of caterers who might just throw out a pasta meal for their
Well, it's
for their
like
workers.
a kid's dinner. I know some
Right, they
caterers
get the
that
kids' dinner.
the hoi polloi eat the filet and the
Right.
riffraff eat mac and cheese.
No, I mean, my employees work so hard and they're so dedicated. I make sure that they're well taken care of.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about the kind of customers that you tend to deal with. For example, you're planning a wedding. Obviously, if the person is at a certain age group, the parents could be the producers of the event.
Right.
But the young people, I'm sure, are the directors. I'm sure it requires amazing interpersonal skills. If someone's paying for the event, I'm positive they have assumptions that they have control over the event.
Right.
How do you...
Well, the first thing when I meet with clients is I determine who is in charge. And it's not necessarily the bride. It could be the mother of the bride, it could be the father of the bride, or sometimes it could even be the groom. And-
Good. We want these guys to get involved.
Yeah, so you need to know, I've sat with mothers and daughters where the mother is really directing how the daughter's wedding is going to go. And occasionally I've told a mother, you had your wedding. Let your daughter have her wedding.
Good man. Well, I do know one story that one of the functions of a wedding planner is to be the interpreter between the
Oftentimes,
daughter or the siblings or the bride and groom and the caterer or the eventer or the whoever, because
Yeah.
everyone has different ideas of what they want and what it should be.
Absolutely. Planning a wedding really brings in a lot of emotions from different family members, and sometimes I act as sort of a mediator, as the discussion progresses.
Talk to me about some of we talked a little bit about whether you took a psychology class. After talking to you this evening, it occurs to me that perhaps a course in mediation or an active listening class or some kind of psychological